We're here at the beautiful Silver Lakes Golf Estate where Charl De Villiers has just completed a project of a stunning kitchen. Charl, can you give us an introduction to this very exciting and rather epic project with its beautiful, beautiful final product?
This house was built in the 1980s. It's quite rustic. It has a thatch roof. The exterior walls are what we call clinker bricks, which is a rough face brick. The interior walls are rough plaster. And it's a house with great charm, but the kitchen needed renovations. And we also added a flatlet for the expanding family. We have grandparents, children and grandchildren cohabiting. And we had numerous challenges here, including multiple small spaces that had to be merged to create new larger spaces for an expanded kitchen. We had to prop up a first floor, and we had to introduce a steel beam to carry that first floor. So confined spaces, technical challenges carrying that first floor, and then the challenge of how do you renovate an older rustic house and create that balance, strike that balance between old and new, and end up with a functional product.
Today we are in the realized vision of Richard and Catherine Downing. How did it all start?
Well, it all started with the tumble dryer and the washing machine. The tumble dryer was out in the garage on its own, so the washing machine was here in the kitchen. We had a bottleneck in the kitchen as well. And we thought, is there any way we can sort that out? Well, we need an architect and a builder and everything for that. So I thought, oh, well, let me contact Charl. I just had this gut feeling. I didn't look for anybody else. This gut feeling just to contact him. I go with my gut feeling as well. So contacted Charl, and then we had a meeting with Charl.
Yeah, that's right.
And then Charl had a look at the place, and Charl gave me so much ideas.
So once you spoke to Charl, you started seeing all kinds of new possibilities, especially as the family was growing. Richard, can you tell us more?
Yeah, I mean, we started off as 5 of us when we got to South Africa, and now we've grown to 10 as of 3 weeks ago. We had another little granddaughter.
Congratulations.
So it's grown and it's grown, and getting the kitchen to work is a big part of that.
One great feature of this kitchen that creates space, it creates flow, is this island. And the island is topped with a slab of granite. Catherine, you have a beautiful story about the granite. And Richard, you have a geologist's perspective on it.
As soon as I saw it, I thought, oh my God, when it was put in and the sink was put in there, I thought, wow, this is actually like a river coming through the island and going as a waterfall into the sink.
If you look at it, it's not just a river, it's actually moving. You get a sense of things flowing through this. For me, this is the piece de resistance. Have a good look at the mineralogy. I mean, you can see there's some garnets in it. You've got these red ones. And you can pick out some pyrite and a host of other minerals in it. I could go on and on really to do this, the geology, but I think it was just fantastic when Catherine picked this piece of rock up. I mean, it's amazing.
We've seen our fixed island with its fabulous granite slab. We also have this mobile butcher's block, which moves through the kitchen spaces very easily, so it creates a modular space. And over here, we have it in a whole different area of the kitchen, and it goes where it needs to be.
Yeah, no, it's one of the stars of the kitchen so far. I remember when Charl started talking about the butcher's block. What do I want the butcher's block for? And I tell you what, it's been the start. Christmas dinner was a treat. I had room to carve. I didn't need to be everywhere else. We've had braais. You can bring the meat in, you can dish it out. It moves wherever you want it. You know, everybody uses it. If it's not used as butcher's block, it's the mobile storage unit.
Yes, because there's plenty
of room on it. I mean, it's just been excellent. I think, well done, Charl.
So it started off with us having so many nooks, corners, crannies, because remember we were using an existing structure with it's not a simple rectangular space. So what we did here is, as opposed to pre-designing the kitchen on paper, we stripped these various rooms, put in place the new walls, and once you could really see what you are dealing with. Catherine and I started walking through this space literally with chalk, drawing. We drew the cabinetry on the floor, we drew the cabinetry on the walls, and we talked through it. So this was an embodied experience where Catherine would say to me, I don't want this, I do want that, we forgot about this, is that a problem? So it was very personal.
Yes, it was. I felt sorry for Charl. We'd sit for hours and organise the kitchen on paper on the plans. And then I phoned him and said, Charl, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. We're going to have to redesign. You're going to have to come again and spend 2 or 3 hours again and go through it all.
It sounds like it really is a work in progress.
It was.
Organic.
Yes. And then, yes, it just all came together.
Catherine brought in a number of elements that I would like to acknowledge. So I'm not a prima donna architect. I don't force decisions on my clients. I work with them and I try and incorporate what they bring to the design. And Catherine very specifically chose these tiles, and they do work very well in the kitchen. And she also chose the countertops. These are actually granite, but they have a natural shimmer in them, which I believe is mica. And Catherine decided on the solid oak, the light colour solid oak, and she also decided on the dark central kitchen island, which we did in contrast to the peripheral light oak. The island is the dark oak. And then very specifically, Catherine decided on this very light powder blue paint. Now architects, we do white, we do black, we do grey, and if we are adventurous, we do silver. Colour is a bit of a challenge. So sometimes you need the woman's touch. And I do think all of these elements have come together very nicely.
Thank you.
The final product is remarkable, and I love this synergy between the architect, the client, and the different craftspeople who have really collaborated.
But at times there's a little bit of butting heads, I think.
Yes.
That's part of the process.
Yes. But we got there.
And the thing is, we ended up as friends afterwards.
Of course.
Going through our process.
Yes.
And that's the proof of the pudding.
Yes. I love Charl now.
What I love about Catherine's approach during our collaboration process, things were done because she needed them, because they worked, but it was never done to be fashionable, so to speak. It wasn't done to impress others.
No. It was what I liked, not for anybody else.
any construction project it's never plain sailing, is it? This was particularly adventurous. What were the hurdles between the dream and making it a reality?
I think looking back on it now, it was well worth it. Yeah, we struggled through not having a kitchen for 6 months.
And living in a construction zone for a while.
It was a construction site. I mean, everything we're standing in now for 6-7 months was just building. It was dust, it was noise, it was everything.
The first few months wasn't too bad, but I think towards the end it was getting a bit like, this is enough now. We sort of starting to get like, we want it done now, we want it done, we want it finished. And yet we didn't want it rushed. We wanted it done nicely. So, but it was okay.
It was well managed. I think Debbie did a great job.
And the Gerrit, oh my word, I take my hat off to him, because he sort of said, we'll do this now and we'll do that then, and how he managed to get everything through and everything
despite all the hurdles and the access.
He always seemed to have it under control, and he always looked calm. Whether he was doing a very good Swan impression, I don't know, but it always looked as if he was in 100% control of what was happening.
One of the big challenges in getting started to build here has been access. Moving through the driveway with materials that need to go in, people, equipment, vehicles, and then getting the work done inside is an interesting feat. Can you tell us more about how you approached this?
We got as small loads as we can, but that also got its own issues that you end up ordering more trucks than what you normally would in an open site. Nothing can be stored on the pavements areas. The way we got around that was small orders and just you got to get your planning right. So you can't order your plaster sand before you got your building sand if you're not plastering it.
So it's a lot of planning, a lot of logistics, and a little bit of creativity.
Definitely.
And in your working together with Charl, how does the process of the architect and the building contractor collaborating, how did that work together with your process, Charl's process, and how do you make it work?
Well, we've worked with him before, so we understand each other. I think he knows what our strengths are, and we know basically how he functions. And so, if there were any requirements from his side or any information, he generally gets that out pretty quickly. He knows what he wants. He understands what he can see the end product in his head. So if there is maybe something that detail that we need to get clarity on, it's pretty quick that he jumps onto that and sorts it out. So that's always a big advantage in doing a job like this, especially a renovation. And new build, you normally have all the details sorted, whereas with something like this, you normally just need to match what you've got with existing as far as possible, so it doesn't stand out too much. So,
well, it certainly is a job very, very well done.
And I think what really struck us about the kitchen was about 2 or 3 weeks after we got it going and everything, and the three of us were in here working, realised we weren't getting in each other's way. And we didn't, and we all stood back and looked and said, it works.
Catherine, you've told us that it all began with a washing machine and the tumble dryer that were separated. Here in the new scullery, everything is back together, so the story comes to a happy ending.
Yes, it does. And this is, I love this room. I spend a lot of time in here washing and drying, and yes, under the cupboards, and for my laundry baskets, everything is all lovely.